Hello world. Patricia O'Connor and hold on. Let's see. Frida Reba Dorsey here. Tonight we are at Frida's place and I'm on a tiny little tripod. There's a little mame or bean, Japanese black pine right here in a little mame pot, looking pretty proud of itself with all the growth it has going on, and the camera's not really framed up really nice. We would be framed up better maybe for this one, which is about to get some, water's everywhere, not everywhere really, but you can see water in there because I just watered these guys. I brought them in, set them on this spot, turned on some lights, and we're about to do some candle cutting on these two tiny little mame Japanese black pines. These are a couple of our guys that have been with us for a couple of years now. I really love these little trees. It is a little tricky to do candle cutting on something this tiny, but let's get in there and get after it. I don't really see a whole lot of reason to hold out. The main thing is to try to do this on the show. Boom. So this guy has been really healthy. We've been feeding it all year, and it is just full of shoots and elongated growth. And so now the dealio is to get in here and get some of these others. Candle cutting season is upon us. Get in there. There. Well, almost. No, I got it. I just clear it up. Clean that up and you'll be okay. Okay. Candles ahoy. Ahoy. The trick is to have the tree in the show, still hold it far enough away that I've got it framed up well and still can see what I'm doing. So far, so good. We're doing okay. I actually think having looked at both trees, I actually think the smaller tree will be easier than this one. But neither one of them should take a real long time. Ooh. Okay. So the purpose of this is just a few weeks ago, I picked up the fertilizer on this tree. So at that point, the tree began to live off of its own resources and stop accumulating resources. While at the same time, the tree was growing these new healthy candles based on all the feeding that we had done so far this year. So while that had us in an energy positive state, and these candles were really long and lush, Now we go through towards the end of candle cutting season, and we go back and we cut them. We cut all these new candles. And at that point, the tree's like, dang, and turns right around and starts and goes, I'll show you. And what it does then is it puts out just tons more. So like for every one we cut, it'll put out a bunch more, like a bunch, really. 4 or more typically. So it'll do that because the tree adapted in an environment where it might actually lose its foliage because of hurricanes or something, right? And because of that reason, when we go back now and cut all of these candles, it will respond thinking that it's lost all of its foliage the way it has been adapted to do, and it will put out a second flush. And it will put out a second flush plus a little bit. Like I said, it'll turn every one we cut into 3 or 4. Or 5 or 6. Or some ridiculous number. And we will not cut those. We'll let those go all season long. Now remember, we took up the fertilizer. So with the fertilizer all picked up, the tree living off of its new resources, it then grows a second flush of more needles than it had originally. And it's going to have to make those, its resources that it has on hand, it's going to have to divide that up between the new flushes that it made. And remember, I said it was going to make more. So it'll divide all of its energy up into what's left, and those needles will be shorter because it's in a bonsai pot and we're limiting how much resources it has already. Had this been in a big training pot, we wouldn't be getting the benefits of this. So it will respond by putting out flushes of more buds, and we will respond to that by doing nothing but allowing that to continue to grow out and put out flushes of more buds. And then in the fall, when those new buds have grown all the way out, and how do we know when they've grown all the way out? They'll harden off. And when they harden off, then all of the needles are as long as they're going to be for this year. It is at that point that we can go back at all of those clusters that have come forth out of there, and we can prune 6, 4, 3, whatever it is. We can prune it back to 2 that are of equal strength. Not necessarily the biggest, not necessarily the smallest, not necessarily always 2 that are right across, because we wire here. We can take 2 that are like this, but are of equal strength, put some wire on them, and cut all the rest of them, and then wire them to be kind of like that. So we'll cut back to 2 buds where we just cut 1. So this time next year, we will have trees with smaller needles, and wherever we just cut 1 of those candles right now, there will be 2 candles, there'll be 2 buds there with smaller needles making new candles. And we'll go through and repeat that process and turn those 2 into 4s. And that's how we'll roll. And we just did, you can see the candles are quite long on this tree right now. That's by design. Last year, we potted up and wired and styled this tree. And that meant hands off. So those guys were allowed to get all loud and freaky. And that's actually kind of a light pruning. That's kind of a light pruning. But yeah, that's it for this guy for this year. And our carnage cam, we cut off quite a bit. We cut off quite a bit. We've got a little bit of a carnage cam here. So that'll be that for that guy. We'll just put you back there. We'll say goodbye to the carnage. It was nice seeing you guys this spring. And then we're gonna move this guy up into this guy's gonna be, this is little Mame Japanese black pine. We ordered 10 trees on Etsy and got 10 really, and got some really, really small, incredibly small trees. And this one was the runt, but it was also the greenest and the most and the most hardy looking, but it was definitely, come on, focus, focus, focus. But it was definitely the smallest. Look how it's responded to that wire. It just got all poofed out and big and stuff. And on the next repot, I'll be able to show off. There's a lot more going on. We've got some woody roots that we could be showing off, and they're a little below the surface this time around. Let me see if I'm kind of trying to pull in focus a little tighter there. But, and also I own it. The tree is a little hard to see in there, but it is. It's a cute little tree in there. So like the other one, this is our time to shine, and we're going to, I love this. This is our smallest tree. This is our smallest little Japanese black pine, and this tree is 2 years old. 3 years old. We ordered it from Etsy before we ever. Yeah, I have some that I've sprouted that are 2 years old, and these were before we ordered 2 rounds. We ordered 2 rounds from Etsy before we ever bought any seeds or sprouted our first seeds. So yeah, no, it's gonna get tricky here. You gotta really, oop. Are we still in the movie? Yeah, kind of barely. Go in with scissors closed. Go in with eyes open, scissors closed. Well, you're just gonna have to cut those damn needles. Yeah, that was okay. That'll show more where I cut the candle where I wanted to, but I failed miserably at sparing the needles that were around it. That was just, I kept trying to get in there and they kept jumping in the way, and I was having to hold the pot. Any more excuses? Yeah, I think that should be enough. That should be enough. All right. Lots to prune on this guy. It has been so healthy. It has been so busy. Boom, boom, boom. But look, there's the little tree in here. I still hadn't gotten all of that candle. There. Might have did a better job on that than I thought. The candles I was trying to spare might have been just a part of that. The buds I was trying to spare, the needles I was trying to spare might have just been a part of the candle I was having a hard time getting all of. So it might be okay there. So it's not like this is an all-day job. It's no less tense. All right, let's move in. You didn't get all of that. Get all of that. except for that coming around for the kill there. What's the angle I want to come in for this guy? Here we go. Oops. Just backhanded the camera. It's okay. I think my camera is pretty well figured out how we operate by now. Where do I get that guy? Okay. It didn't. All right. Here it is. There's our little tiny little flagship. This guy here is just such a cutie. Well, I mean, Frida is also such a cutie, but on a tree level, this guy. Yeah, I didn't do. Go in there tighter. Okay. That's us. We have a few dozen more of these to do. We have a few dozen more of these to do, but this is the first little candle cutting. I didn't do a needle reduction on these guys too much. I might do that later, but they can just bounce back right now. And yeah, that wasn't too bad. We're clocking in right around 20 minutes before I finally quieten down. Like and subscribe if you guys have not already. Our next drop will be tomorrow, where we'll probably go outside and do something very similar, very similar to this. And I appreciate you, and Frida appreciates you. And thank you all. Thank you all so much for watching. We just really cut that guy back down to, yeah, both of them. We just cut those guys back down to nobody's business there. And thank you all so much for watching.